In 1347, a ship docked in Sicily. The sailors on board were dying. Black swellings, bleeding, fever. Port officials ordered the ships out immediately, but it was too late. Within 4 years, half of Europe was dead. Not weakened, not sick, dead. Somewhere between 30 and 60% of the entire population gone. Towns emptied, fields went unfarmed, whole villages just stopped. And for centuries, that's where the story ended. The Black Death, the great tragedy. But here's what nobody tells you. The plague didn't just kill people, it accidentally built the modern world. To understand how, you need to understand feudalism. Feudalism was the system running medieval Europe, and it was simple. A lord owned the land. You worked it. In exchange, he let you live on it. You couldn't leave, you couldn't negotiate, you had almost no rights. This was called serfdom, and it had been the reality for millions of people for over 500 years. The lord didn't need to offer you anything better, because where were you going to go? There were always more peasants than land, always more workers than work. You had no leverage, none. Then the plague arrived, and in a few years, everything flipped. Suddenly, there were more farms than farmers, more land than hands to work it. Lords who had lost half their workforce were watching their fields rot. And the peasants who survived, they knew it. For the first time in 5 centuries, a peasant could walk to a different lord and ask for better terms. And that lord, desperate, would say yes. Economic historians David Herlihy and Samuel Cohn went through the wage records, the contracts, and the land agreements. What they found was remarkable. After the plague, wages doubled, sometimes tripled. Peasants were renegotiating conditions that hadn't moved in 500 years. Lords tried to stop it. In England, the Statute of Laborers in 1351 tried to legally freeze wages at pre-plague levels. It failed completely. You can't pass a law against supply and demand. The market had already moved. And something else was shifting too. When people started earning wages, real wages, for the first time, they started buying things. Demand for goods grew. Craftsmen and merchants rose in status. A middle class, tiny at first, began to form. This was the seed of capitalism. Not invented, not planned. Accidentally grown from a catastrophe. Now here's where it gets even stranger. The plague didn't just change economics, it changed how people thought about themselves. When half the people around you die, including priests, lords, and kings, the old idea that your place in life was God-given starts to crack. If God's representatives on earth died just like everyone else, maybe the hierarchy wasn't sacred. Maybe it was just an arrangement. One that could be changed. Historians point to this shift in thinking as a direct precursor to the Renaissance, the explosion of art, science, and individual thought that followed within a generation, the Reformation, the scientific revolution, the foundations of the modern world, all of it downstream from a ship docking in Sicily. Think about that. The worst human catastrophe in recorded history accidentally handed ordinary people their first real power. Not through revolution, not through a leader, through scarcity. The system that had crushed people for 5 centuries didn't fall because someone fought it. It fell because there weren't enough people left to hold it up. The plague didn't care about lords or serfs. It didn't care about hierarchies or holy orders. It just killed. And in the wreckage it left behind, something new grew. The right to be paid for your work, the right to leave, the right to negotiate, rights we still build on today. All of it, accidentally, from a disease nobody understood, spreading on a ship nobody stopped.